Hello, my name is Nick, and I would like to welcome you to my series on my BPT journey. This presentation is my own opinion and is not endorsed by any other group. During my journey, I failed both exams multiple times, and it took me 7 years to complete the process, which may sound like the opposite of an endorsement, but through this rocky journey, I had to keep reflecting on and reapproaching this process from numerous angles, which has provided me with what I consider a number of useful insights, which I intend to share so that you may have a smoother journey. However, this is not a rule book, and I want you to simply incorporate the points which help you. This presentation is the 7th in my 10-part series and focuses on the lead up to sitting the clinical exam. As the exam date looms, for many, the nerves will increase, and this will have detrimental effects on the ability to focus and energy levels, and sometimes, consequently, the ability for you to perform on the day. In these circumstances, a best defense is a good offense. By this, I mean that the best response to the situation is coming at it with a prepared plan. Through this presentation, I want to give you some things to consider to help you build these plans. Am I ready? As I mentioned for the written exam, it is important to assess readiness, particularly as the number of attempts is limited. It is, however, also important to mention that many find the experience of sitting the examination to be a highly valued resource for passing in the future, and that many who felt unready have passed. The feedback and scores you receive in your practice and mock exams leading up to the official exam are for most a good representation of readiness. So, if you are getting good consistent feedback that you are passing, then maybe turn this into a mantra to keep reassuring yourself. However, if you aren't passing, I would recommend talking with your DPE and your support crew to determine if you should proceed at this point in time. Similar as the preparation for the written exam, sorting the logistics for your exam as early as possible can reduce stress and cognitive burden as you approach the day of sitting. Things to organize include study leave, flights, with most people trying to arrive a couple of days beforehand, accommodation. Personally, when I was searching for accommodation, I was looking for places with the keyword quiet. Transport, knowing how to get from the accommodation to the hospital where you will be sitting. For most of my attempts, I arranged so that I could walk to the venue, as this would remove any anxiety I had around being dependent on others to get to the hospital. And also, I found the act of walking to be calming for myself. Clothes. Some people will bring an additional set just in case, while others bring things to hide sweat stains. But my overall recommendation is to wear what you practiced in so that you feel even more comfortable and ready. The last week leading up to the exam. Many people tackle this in different ways, and it is a personal choice. Though, for most, additional short and long cases are not helpful and may actually hinder. Focusing on controlling nerves and energy conservation is much more important. This means a focus on getting adequate sleep, eating right, continuing to exercise, and light revision. I personally didn't do any cases in the week before the exam, as I didn't want any mishaps to play on my mind. But again, this is a personal choice. The day before the exam. Again, the approach to this is personal. Though, I would recommend continuing a focus on nerve control and energy conservation. The main thing I prioritized was going to sleep early, as I knew my sleep would be interrupted. I can't tell you the number of times I woke up through the night before the exam and checked my phone for the time. Luckily, I had forced myself to go to sleep before 8 p.m. so that I still achieved over 7, nearly 8 hours of sleep across the night. I also used the day before again to reduce my cognitive load on the day. I bought groceries for breakfast and lunch. Food is provided, but I wanted to make sure I had a low carbohydrate option to reduce afternoon lull and additional caffeine for a peak before the second half of the day. I laid out my clothes. I walked the path between my accommodation and the hospital, and then I triple checked my briefcase. Then the day comes. After you arrive, you will wait with the other candidates. You will then receive a rundown of the day and be given a bulldog. When it comes to the bulldog, they are there to help you. For them to do this, I think it is most important to outline with them whether you expect talk and supportive check-ins or whether you prefer silence. The bulldog will then lead you to your first door and you will wait for the first bell. This is the point to put your nerve control strategies into place. Diaphragm breathing, power stance, mantra, and to remind yourself you have worked hard and you are ready. On my final attempt, I used all three of these strategies. I read the stem, selected my necessary kit, and then struck my power pose with my hands on my hips. Then focused my thoughts on the sensation of my breath, pushing my diaphragm down. And once this calmed me, stilled the last of my nerves with the internal mantra that I had worked hard and I was prepared to be there. For this presentation, my key point is that the best defense is a good offense. So please put time and effort in early to prepare for this lead up. That concludes my presentation on the lead up to the clinical examination. Thank you for watching and good luck with your journey.